Oh man, it's the grab bag.
So, I'm kind of sick. This sucks because I have two Dr. Mafuzbu videos that I was going to start working on, but I'm not really going to be able to do much voice acting when I sound like crap. Um, so, on the flip side, I did finish a book, which is The Devil's Only Friend, book 4 in the I Am Not a Serial Killer series. And this one does have a lot of different feels, and I now realize that I don't remember these, second three books, uh, because I thought that the fifth book was about dealing with Rak, the king of the Withered, which that's what the demons are all called. Um, no, he's the main villain in this book, and I'm like, okay, well then I don't remember the fifth book at all. Uh, so that'll be interesting when I get to the next one. But anyways, so uh, John and Brooke have joined an FBI team, and they are in a different city. They've been going from city to city, hunting withered and killing them, along with the FBI. And they come to this one town. They find that there are two, and one of them is working in the hospital, and another one just, they're trying to understand. Uh, they realize that the one of them does not need sleep, except for when he finally breaks down and needs to rest. He then kidnaps somebody, and then he forces the other person to become awake and unable to sleep so he can sleep, but in doing so he drives the other person insane. So John and the ex special forces Potash um, are used to kill him, and they defeat this wizard pretty easy early on. Um, and you get introduced to the fact that Potash is this calm, collected, basically serial killer, but he's just special forces, has no problem killing people. Um, then you get introduced to the rest of the team. The second one of these withered is this nurse. They don't really understand her powers yet. Jump cut. All right. They don't understand her powers quite yet, but so they have to launch an attack because they find out that there's a third withered and that more withered are coming into this town. So they're like, wait, what's going on? Do they know about us? So when they go to do this raid on the nurse, it turns out she has the ability to inflict sickness upon other people, to the point where Potash, after the raid, is in the hospital for like a week with the worst case of pneumonia ever imaginable. Um, and defeating her, well, the only way they defeat her is John goes in and actually kills her. Um, and it's pretty crazy. And the whole time they're trying to get more information. The third one that was in town was hiding. Um, and John begins to piece things together that maybe he's not evil. Maybe this Withered is the first one that isn't, because it doesn't seem like he's trying to hurt anyone. And the reason it looks like that is that he has the power to, well, he lacks memory, so he has to take people's memories. Um, Except he doesn't want to hurt anybody, so he's going to people who have died, and he takes their memories away from the dead bodies. And when he does that, he doesn't hurt anybody that's alive, and he just holds their memories in him until they start fading away, and then he has to repeat it. And then it's shown that there are three additional Withered who show up, and they're trying to recruit this one. um, but he doesn't want to join them, and of course they're more evil and vicious. But the thing is that the leader of them, Gidry, who has the ability to steal people's youth, um, he wants to overthrow the current king, and that the current king is coming to town. And then there's a separate Withered who is being called the Hunter, and he is actively chasing down the FBI team. So it's really interesting how some of this stuff goes around, but one of the things that's missing is the first three books all took place in Clayton, North Dakota, and that town had its own feeling in the book. In this, yeah, there's the city, but you don't really get much of the layout or feel of the city. You just get little snippets of here and there, but for the most part, it's dialogue between the FBI team as they're slowly getting killed by the Withered, and then finally the confrontation with the Hunter, which turns out it's Rack. So I was like, man, I totally forgot. I thought Rack was the next book, but Rack was the main villain of this book. And Rack wanted to wipe out the other Withered so he could reset things and do another ritual to create a whole new horde of Withered. And he wanted to make John one of them because of how much of a good hunter John was. So it was very. Overall, I really enjoyed the book, but it definitely kind of has a step back because it has less emotional weight than the other books did. Um, but that's probably because you get introduced to the FBI team, and they're the main focus besides John in this book. And by the end of the book, with what happens, they all die, except for John and Brooke. So it's like, oh yeah, you spent all that time getting connected, or maybe you got connected to these characters or not, and then they are all dead. And then John, like, the one thing I do remember from the next book is John and Brooke, like, trying to avoid the FBI and the police as they're fleeing across the country together. And that's definitely going to be fun watching, or not watching, but, listening to that audiobook next. And again, sorry for the voice. I can't really do much about that. And until I'm better, I'm gonna hold off from doing any more, like, really intense.
I don't know. How good does this sound compared to how it normally does?
It's probably pretty bad. Anyways, have a good one.